Hey everybody, how's it going? Kevin Freebie here, and today we're going to dig deeper into playing over chord changes by talking about the altered dominant 7th chord. Hey everyone, how's it going? Before we start, I do want to mention that at the end of this video, I am going to go ahead and put a loop of what we're playing over and what we're discussing today, so that way you have a way to practice. It'll be about a 5-minute loop, no bass, so it will leave you tons of space. Once again, the groove's at 118 beats per minute. I know that it can't replicate playing in a band, but it's about as close as you can get over the internet. Real quick, before we dive any deeper, let's do a quick review of what we discussed on the last video. Okay, A altered scale. A, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A. Now I'm going to keep going in position. B flat, C, D flat, E flat, D flat, C, B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D flat, C, B flat, A. Once again, nice dark scale, lots of tension. And then I also talked about the idea of playing it up here, starting on the note A, descending, so that you can kind of get familiar with that sort of fingering. So real quick, A, G, F, E flat, D flat, C, B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D flat, E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A. Okay? All right, so let's talk about the approach to this overall solo. I did play some stuff that was based off the scale, but I want to give you the building blocks for this. One of the really interesting things about the altered scale is the fact that off of the root, you can get two completely different and full 7th chords. Because there's a major and a minor third, if I play the note A, I have two choices to go from there. Okay, so if we're playing a traditional dominant type sound, the next note would be major. Okay, now since this is altered, the 5th is going to be a sharp 5. So you have 1, 3, sharp 5, flat 7, root. That gives us an A7 sharp 5 chord, or an A7 augmented chord. Okay. Now the other interesting thing is that if you choose to use the minor third, you end up with A, C, E flat, G, and A. This gives you 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7, and then the root again. Okay? That gives you an A half diminished chord, or an A minor 7 flat 5. And these are both totally fine to use over an A7 altered chord. They're going to give you a completely different sound, and really what is going to tell you what to play is your ears. Okay? Now, me personally, I went ahead and decided to play the A7 sharp 5, or the A7 augmented chord. Okay? That's kind of my approach. Neither one is right or wrong, but my ears told me in this particular scenario that the A7 sharp 5 was the way to go. Okay? The reason that I'm bringing this up is because I think it's super important to focus on the chord tones before focusing on scales. Scales, if you don't approach it the right way, they can sometimes just sound like you're meandering. I like to think of the arpeggio notes, or the chord tones, as the legs on a table. If you take a table and you have 4 legs, you can pretty much put anything underneath those 4 legs that you want. That includes upper neighbor tones, lower neighbor tones, kind of, there's a whole bunch of ideas, other chromatic notes, scalar notes. There's a million different ways to do it. However, if you have those legs on the table, that table's not going to fall no matter what. Okay? Hope that analogy works for you. So what I have here is A, C sharp. You're going to notice this fingering slightly different than the one I just played earlier in the video. This is the fingering that is my go-to, and I'll explain why in a second. A, C sharp, F, G, and then A. So the fingering that I'm using right here is a 2-note per string fingering. And the reason I like using this is it allows me to get a lot of range with only a couple strings. That gives me more range overall. A 2-octave scale goes pretty quick, or a 2-octave arpeggio rather. Here we go. And then I just repeat it. A, C sharp, F, G, A, C sharp, F, G, A. Okay? It didn't take a whole lot of work, and also the shapes mirror each other, which makes it really easy. When we decide to get into a little more, I don't want to say advanced application, but like a little further down the line with application, we could fill in some really cool 3-note per string sort of things. We can even add in some chromatics. But right now I really, really want to focus on these fundamentals, okay? So A, C sharp, F, G. Okay, so that's a root position arpeggio. All right. So what I recommend is learning the arpeggio and then learning the inversions of the arpeggio. Okay, I will go ahead and break down the way that I play it and my approach. And this is really where I start over any chord that I play. Okay, so 1, 3, sharp 5, 7, 1, 3, sharp 5, 7. Okay, so this becomes my arpeggio shape. I apologize for just going straight into some sort of pattern right there. I should have just played it straight. Okay, so after you play the root position arpeggio, you want to start getting into the inversions. Now your first inversion is going to start on the 3rd. So you're going to have 3, sharp 5, flat 7, 1. Okay, there's my, if you can see my left hand, there you go. That's our shape. And we can literally just move it up an octave. So starting on the 3rd, sharp 5, flat 7, root. 3rd, sharp 5, flat 7, root. Okay. Okay. So right there, you're getting some other options, and even though it's the same group of notes, what you're going to play in your vocabulary is naturally going to be slightly different. Okay. So now after that, we're going to go ahead and jump up to the 2nd inversion, which starts on the 5th. In this case, the sharp 5. Sharp 5, flat 7, root, natural 3rd, sharp 5, flat 7, root, natural 3rd. Once again, 2 notes per string. All right. Next, we have 3rd inversion. This starts on the 7th. 7, root, natural 3rd, sharp 5, and then I repeat it. Flat 7, root, natural 3rd, sharp 5. And we're far enough up on the neck now to where this is easily accessible down here too, so I'll do it again. 7th, root, 3, sharp 5, flat 7, root, 3, sharp 5. Okay, this to me, is the most important thing to play over any chord, especially as a bass player, because we need to outline those chords, whether we're soloing or whether we're actually backing people up. The foundation needs to be there. I always like to think of it as if the person outlining the harmony on the bandstand died right there on the bandstand, people would still be able to tell where the song is by what you're playing. I also believe in that rhythmically. If the drummer was to have a heart attack right there on the bandstand and you had to keep going, your rhythm should be strong enough to where not only the band, but once again, the audience knows what's going on. What happens next is you kind of want to start approaching the musical situation with these notes to really play them slowly and get them in your ear. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring the loop in. The goal is to really, really, really get the sound in your ear. And I think that it's more important to get the sound of the arpeggios in your ear and then the scale, okay? You can practice either one of them as much as you like, but make sure that your ear hears everything that you're playing. All right, so here we are on the vamp, okay? Got this loop going behind me, once again, setting up that A7alt chord perfectly, okay? Lots of space. Now my goal here is to grow. My goal here is not to play perfectly. My goal here is to develop new ideas and kind of regurgitate old ideas, but now into this new harmony and this new chord that I have to play. I'm setting myself some major limitations. I am allowing myself to only play the notes of this arpeggio and this arpeggio alone, because that is my focus. So once again, the notes are root, major third, sharp 5, and a flat 7. Okay, so in this case, A, C sharp, F natural, G natural, and then back at A. Okay? I did kind of come up with just a little groove a second ago, and I'm going to go ahead and play that to kind of get me into it, because I want to really try to create more like a real world situation. Because what I would typically be doing before any sort of improvisation is I would be laying down the groove behind the rest of the band, and then maybe they would give me ways or give me space to play. I hope that you enjoyed that improvisation. I hope that you got a lot out of this lesson. And please stick around till the end of this video. I've put a 5-minute loop of exactly what I was soloing over and improvising over. And that way you can practice along with it as much as you want. If you do feel like you're getting a lot out of these lessons, please go ahead and click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It really helps build the channel, and that way I can keep providing you with information.